Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Road to One. Today we have a very special guest, Heather Irving. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
I appreciate you. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your avatars?
I'm from a small town in Maryland, Salisbury, Maryland.
Mhm.
I'm a military wife. I have two children, a 15-year-old daughter, and a 9-year-old son. And my husband is active duty in the military. So we move quite a bit. Um, so now I'm living here in Hampton Roads, Virginia. Um, I started fixing and flipping here a couple of years ago. So that's like my major avatar is fixing and flipping. I'm a real estate agent. So I service people for, to sell their homes or either help them buy a home. And then I do a little wholesaling every now and then. It's not like my major thing, but if a deal comes across where a wholesale makes sense, then I'll wholesale it. And then I do some EMD lending.
Okay.
Is my
Interesting. How's the EMD lending gone for you so far?
so far it's been kind of tough.
Mhm.
It's I guess I'm really not putting myself out there. So I guess that's why it's tough. But
Yeah.
I try to connect with wholesalers that do a lot of deals, do volume, but most of them kind of got the money that they need. So
Yeah.
um it's been a little difficult for me.
Yeah.
I did connect with Colin
Okay.
um and
Yeah.
let him know like, hey, I have this much money and if any EMD deals come across and connect with me.
Mhm.
But so far it's been pretty slow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things I've been involved in three EMD transactions and none of them have closed. So I hear it's
That's
like one in
ridiculous.
10.
Hmm.
Well, cool. So, you are moving. How often are you moving?
Well, I'm finally this was my seventh move.
Uh-huh.
But this is the last move because my husband is at his this last 4 years in the military.
Okay.
And so we just decided that of course we don't want to live in Virginia, but
Mhm.
we're just tired of moving. So we're just gonna settle here and just make it work.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I guess if you've been moving, you moved a bunch in the past however many years. What got you into real estate?
Um, Honestly, I've always wanted to be a real estate agent since I was
Mhm.
a kid, but it wasn't something that I saw growing up, so I just didn't think it could be my reality.
Mhm.
But I just started, I was at a job I didn't like. Um, and so I just started looking up real estate education online, YouTube. And then I learned about wholesaling. And so that was back in 2019. So once I learned that you don't need a lot of money to like get into real estate and like
Mhm.
make then it had my ear and then I was like, okay, well, I can do this. And so um that's what kind of started me is like I was unhappy where I was. I always wanted to be in real estate. It was just never a thing in my environment. So I just kind of pushed it off. And so I just started looking into it and just went for it.
What was it that clicked in your mind to actually just take action and get into it?
I think I was so unhappy that I wanted more. And
Mhm.
so um I just took that step and went for it. I was like, well, how much worse could it be? It's like something that I always wanted to do anyway. So I just went for
Right.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. I mean, a lot of people will be unhappy, but they won't do anything about it. They'll just stay unhappy. So very cool that you were unhappy, but decided to do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was your first deal then? How did you find it? How did you even evaluate it?
So I'll take a step back. I joined a mentorship before I joined Substitute Community.
Mhm.
And they kind of taught me the basics. I had YouTube University first,
Mhm.
and then I seen a mentorship. I joined that mentorship and I did the training for them. And um, I just ran across a deal where it was just like a problem I just couldn't solve. It was just like so many things. And then, I just feel like, your phones and everything, they listen to you.
Mhm.
So I saw a video of Pace and him talking about like subject to and how you take over people's mortgage payments and how to do like short sales and or like it was back then it was like Matthew Bell was a short sale king and then it was another lady. It was just that house had that many issues.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, that's the guy I need to talk to figure this issue out. And so it was he was giving out 500 free leads through if you use the batch leads platform.
Mhm.
So sign up for batch leads. I used the 500 free SMS messages. And then I started blasting out text messages to people. And of course I learned how to sort the list on PropStream or batch and try to find like a low equity pre-foreclosure situation.
Mhm.
And so the text messages I sent out, they all went out, and one of them came back, and I was just like, "Hey, did you know a real estate investor will catch up your mortgage payments and potentially give you something in your pocket?" And then the lady responded back. She was like, "Where would I find somebody like that?" And then I responded back, "You bet."
It worked,
But
right?
it worked, and so I met with her, found out she had two mortgages on her home. The first mortgage was at 117. Well, it was at 111 when I started.
Mhm.
111,000. The second mortgage was at 145,000. And her house just needed like a total renovation. Um, she had an agent trying to sell her house for like a year.
Mhm.
That didn't work. And she was just kind of like, yeah, I just given up on it. There's nothing anybody can do with it. And so um that's when Pace came in. And I explained it to Pace. We got on the Zoom together, we talked through it, worked through it. And we tried to do something. Um, but it was something where the hard money lender, um, they have to be in first position.
Mhm.
And so that didn't work so too because the house needed to be renovated. And so I went the short sale route and we worked with a real estate agent to do the short sale. And they wasn't really putting in the effort needed. So I had to
Mhm.
step in. And so I ended up getting a third party authorization to talk to the bank on her behalf. And I was able to get the second mortgage from 145 to 25,000.
Oh.
And so then it was a deal.
Mhm.
And the house sat on 2 acres. It had a small pond on it. And so um I got the deal. We were supposed to do short sale. So I worked through all of that through the short sale process. And then the short sale, the lender said that everything had to be a certain way on the HUD. And so that didn't work for the hard money lender. And so, because they funded my entire deal. So I didn't have
Mhm.
to bring down payment or anything like that. So they funded the entire deal at 9% interest. And that was, back in 2020. So it's not like that no more. But
Yeah.
um, they funded the whole entire deal, but it was a certain way the lender wanted things to look on the HUD. And it just didn't work out for the hard money lender. And so even though I went through all of that with the short sale, it just didn't work anyway.
Mhm.
So we just ended up buying it directly from the homeowner for the amount owed, which ended up being like with the rental amount ended up being 142,000. So in that house, after I finished fixing it up, it sold for 399.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, and in between all of that, it was just a bunch of this is my first flip, not intentional at all. I was only gonna go in wholesale. I was
Yeah.
not going to because it was my first deal in real estate, period.
Yeah.
So I was just like, well, I want to wholesale. I might get a 10,000 assignment fee, da 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 da. But I had people in my ears like, Heather, just go for it. Just go ahead and just fix it up and sell it. And so I was just like, that's not what I want to do. I just wanted to just go ahead and just get my assignment fee and keep it moving. And so because of that, I was like, also listening to them, and it was like, well, just partner with somebody so that
Hmm.
you're not making a bunch of mistakes. But at that time, that house, when I bought it, it wasn't supposed to sell for 399. It was only supposed to sell for 275. And the guy that I wanted to partner with, he said, I can't partner with you because it's not enough in here for both of us.
Right.
And so, and he had this whole mentorship going to where I'll partner with you 50-50. I'll bring the
Hmm.
money. You just stand by my side and like learn. And so I was
Yeah.
like, this is the perfect guy.
Hmm.
And so I presented it to him and he was just like, oh no, it's not. It's just not. It's too tight. Numbers are
Yeah.
too. And so I just had to do it by myself. I didn't know what to do. I just did whatever I thought I was supposed to do,
Hmm.
which is all the wrong things. But yeah, it was, hiring the wrong people. I didn't have contracts. People were breaking in, people were stealing. I had a roofer that came and he put the roof on. Well, he put the plywood on. And then in Jacksonville, Florida, this is where the property was.
Yeah.
They have 3 inspections for roofing. And so he put the plywood on, but he didn't put the nails in correctly. So the nails were wrong.
Hmm.
So they failed his inspection. And so he got upset and he just left. Like he left. He left out of the state. Like I didn't even know it. I didn't know he left because I didn't go to the property every day.
Hmm.
I didn't go. I probably went um maybe once a week or something.
Yeah.
And so I went out. I don't know what made me go out there, but I went out there one night and it was just pouring down raining. I don't know. I was just like, oh, let me just go by the property and let's see. Like, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. When I drove by in the pouring rain and I saw that my roof was open. And so it looked like it was like tubs of water being poured in on this property that I only had to do cosmetic work on.
Hmm.
And now it ended up being a full gut. Um, and of course, I didn't borrow money for that because it only needed cosmetic fixes. The only thing that was the biggest was the roof. That was the
Right.
biggest job.
Hmm.
Um, and so I was in trouble. I didn't have enough money to like fix any of this. I cried like a baby. I was like, oh my God, it's my first deal. And I'm like, I don't even know where to go to get the rest of the money to fix this house. Like it was already a tight deal. Um, and so what did I do? What do you think I did, John?
I think you brought in a capital partner.
Yeah, I went on the private Facebook group,
Hmm.
and I gave them my story. And one of the sub 2 students was like, hey, I got the money. And it worked out. Like it was perfect. It worked out. And then I found another lady local in Jacksonville
Hmm.
that knew more about fixing up houses than I did. And so
Hmm.
she was bringing in people that she knew to like get the jobs done. Um, and it moved pretty quickly after that. And towards the last tail end of everything, oh, let me go back. Let me go back to towards I'll say about 3 weeks after I purchased the property, it ended back up for auction.
How?
And because I picked the wrong title company.
Oh.
So I
Uh-huh.
picked the wrong title company. It was to me, I was like, oh, this is easy. It's an online title company. So it was a new company that came out and you could track everything online to see, when the title search was done. You can like it was like everything was online. So I was like, oh yeah, this is so much easier. You know, it's called I think they're called Blueprint Title or something like that.
Hmm.
Um but they mailed the check to the foreclosure attorney and not to the servicer. Um, and then the foreclosure attorney was like, "Yeah, the check came here and we mailed it to the servicer." And so I called the servicer and I was like, "Hey, you guys do have the check. Like, you guys need to find it. Why is
Mhm.
it back up for auction?" And so they couldn't find it. So then I had to call the foreclosure attorney and I was like, "Hey, do you guys have a tracking number or something?" And so I had to search the tracking number, had to call, I think it was either UPS or FedEx, one of the two, and ask them, "Hey, who delivered this? I need names so that I can call the servicing company and say, hey, John is the one that took this envelope from,
Mhm.
the mailing
Yeah.
center, and you guys need to check with him." So I had
Yeah.
to do all that, and
Hmm.
they found it. And that was all in a day, maybe 2 days. Um, that I was able to track down that check and stop the auction. And the reason why I had checked the website was because I was looking for another lead. I was trying to
Uh-huh.
find another deal. And then I
Yeah.
seen my own house up there for auction. I was like, what? And I had to tell everybody to stop working because I was like, I'm about to lose the house.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I seen my property on the city website with an auction date of the next week, um, I just had to get in my laser focus mode and try to figure out how can I stop this auction. It's crazy. I had to stop auction on my property.
I mean, the
But
amount that you learned on your first deal, you had to fix and flip. I mean, I never would have done a fix and flip by myself on my first deal. And then you had to stop auction. Well, you had people run away. You raised money for it. You brought
Mhm.
in other partners, and then you had to stop an auction. I mean, the that you
Yeah.
learned, it's
Oh
crazy.
my gosh. It was crazy. Like the amount of stuff I learned. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So many uh bad plumbers. I went through probably three plumbers, three electricians. Like it was just like problem after problem after problem. Because I
Mm,
didn't know what I was doing.
right.
Um, but it was all good. I learned so much, and I'm just able to help people now and say, hey, watch out for this. And then contracts was a major thing. Just not
Mhm.
having contracts. And then even when I did have a contract with another company, um, they tried to get me for $55,000.
Yeah.
They're like, we're gonna put a lien against your house for $55,000, even though I only owe them 11. Um, and that was a whole process in itself. And then again, I called Pace again. Same thing. Like I was boohooing, crying. Like I was just like, I don't know where I'm gonna get $55,000 from. They're gonna put a lien against the house. I know I don't owe them that much. And the problem was that I told them that they could buy their own materials and that it would be
Mhm.
reimbursed.
Yeah, of
Um, and so they took advantage of that.
course.
And they were like, yeah, we spent this much. We bought all of this. And I was like, well, that's pretty excessive for this house. You guys are buying all of this.
Yeah.
And so Pace was like, don't worry about it. Because if you didn't sign a pre-lien, then they can't put a lien against your property in the state of Florida.
Okay.
So you have to, every contractor, they have to have a pre-lien signed with
Hmm.
you. And then if you do owe them money at the end of the project, they can file a lien against your property.
Gotcha.
And so they didn't do that. And so he was like, don't worry about it. Just, if you have all the proof that that wasn't spent, it wasn't used, you just pay them what they're owed. And it
Mm.
worked out. They got 11,000.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. So it was supposed to be a wholesale. You had people telling you that you should flip it. Why did you wholesale it? Why did you decide to go do the flip?
Um, I had pretty convincing people in my ear. That I think with me, it's just what's in front of me is what like I focus on.
Mm,
Which can be a problem because I tend to forget, the whole picture. It's kind of like if somebody's constantly in my ear and telling me to do a certain thing and it sounds right and it sounds good and it sounds, because I'm ambitious anyway. That's,
mm,
and so it was like, okay. why not? Like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Can't be that hard. Um, but I guess that was why. It was just kind of like, Heather, you found a great deal. Why not just go ahead forward and flip it? Like you have my number, you have, people you can call. But you know what? These people weren't there. So, um, that's how it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Well, um, I guess looking back now, what do you think you would have done differently?
Um, I don't think I would do anything differently.
Yeah.
I feel like I learned so much I wouldn't have been able to learn if I did do things differently.
Mm.
Like it was so many lessons that I learned. Um, and then making over six figures on your first flip. I don't know if I do anything differently. It's just
Eh,
um
that's
it's just
fair.
yeah, it's just I made good money. Even though I went through a whole lot, um, I learned from it and
Yeah.
I can take it and like teach other people. So it was just painful. Pain is good. So
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think I would
fair.
have changed anything. No.
I mean, I can understand why you made a triple digit flip, right? And you got a ton of lessons. Typically,
Mhm.
it's one or the other. It's not both.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just feel like I almost wanted to quit like in the
Mhm.
middle of the project and I hung in there and I feel like God was like, well done, my child. Like you hung in there. Like, cause I mean, it was so much stuff going on. It was so bad.
Mhm.
Then one of the neighbors, they were calling me names and like it was like it was bad. But I just hung in there and worked it out and it all worked out. It all worked out.
Yeah. So, what kind of mindset issues did you have to get over to get in to finish
Oh
the
yeah.
project?
Um, I think it was more at the beginning, like before I started real estate. It was a
Mhm.
mindset change. I read this book, Five Laws of Prosperity. And that book changed my whole mindset of, kind of like, it's power in the tongue. And so if you want something, you gotta kind of, manifest it and anything that you want really like you can have it. It was just a whole like mind shift um, that I went through before I started in real estate, really. Reading that book that was recommended to me.
Mhm.
Um, that book had me like in tears. It's- But yeah, that book and just knowing that I'm just a good person.
Mhm.
And so I did have owe people money. So I had my hard money limit, even though they're not like a person. It was just like if I
Mhm.
owe somebody something, I always want to be able to return it. Like
Right.
and so it was just like I didn't want to have people coming after me for money that I owe them. Like I
Mhm.
want to be able to pay everybody back so everybody's happy. And so that kept me on the right track too. Like, hey, I gotta get this done, especially when I had the private money lender come in and help me out to push me through the finish line. Like I had to. Because I reached out to, close friends and family for the money first, of course, but I didn't get it. And so I was a complete stranger is gonna give me the money that I need to like get this thing done. I was like, I have to pay them back. So that kind of, kept me on the straight and narrow focused and I pushed through and got it done.
Yeah. I mean, it sounded like a success, so absolutely.
hmm Yeah, yeah. It was a really difficult journey, but at the end it paid off for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Have you done any more flips since then?
I have. I
Yeah.
have. After that flip, I was like, um, it was even causing marital issues.
Mm.
So I was just kind of like, I think I'm gonna just put off real estate for a while. Um, you know, I don't want to do another flip. Like this is kind of like bad, you know. And
Mhm.
so I stopped for probably a year and a half. And then of course we moved here to Virginia towards the end of that flip. So the flip was still going on in Jacksonville, Florida while I was here in Virginia. And so we were traveling back and forth and
Mm.
it just was not a good time. It was just not good. And so um my husband knows me very well and he was just like, I know you say you're not going to do another flip for a while, but just please give it a year.
Yeah.
And so I did. I gave it a year and a half. Um, and then I was like, okay, it's a year and a half. I'm in a whole new state. I just want to get out here and see what Virginia's about and
Mm.
try to excuse me. And I started thinking to myself, man, I didn't go through all of this to not do it again and do it right.
Right.
So, and that was just kind of like the mindset then. And so I was like, all right, well, let me just go ahead, step out here and do another flip. And so now I have all this experience from that one flip. I can definitely do it better. And so, so far we've done um four four flips, and all of them turn a profit.
Yeah.
Um, They're all about 4 months in. I'm done.
Yeah.
6 months in is sold. And so I've
Nice.
been going for, I don't know what it is. I guess it's because the first flip ended up being a full gut job.
Hmm.
All my flips have been full guts. So,
Yeah.
um, and I'm comfortable with it, I guess, because I can see behind the walls and what I budget for everything sticks because there's no surprises. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been going for the full guts and just, you know, keeping it keeping it where I like it. So
Oh, I mean, that's good. It's less competition. Most people that are doing flips are looking for cosmetic.
mhm.
So nothing wrong with that.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah. Well, Heather, I appreciate you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I know it was sound like it was very stressful at the moment, but ton of great lessons and value to be had
Mhm.
from learning about that. How can people reach out to you? How can people work with you?
People can reach out to me. You guys can go to email me at Heather at invest scene SCENE.com. Hold on. It was a real estate agent.
Yeah, no
Um,
worries.
and you can also reach me on Instagram, real estate investor four, like a number four, Eva, EVA. And then Facebook, just my name, Heather Irving. You can find me on there.
Okay.
Those three, you'll definitely get me.
Awesome. Yes, what we'll do is we will have the links in the description. And then you mentioned a book. What was the book called again?
The five laws of prosperity.
All right, we'll make sure to put that in the description as well.
Hmm.
You
Love
also
that book.
have a very good episode with On the Get Creative podcast. We'll include a link to that one too. Um,
Yes, that was perfect.
yeah,
Awesome.
again, appreciate you coming on. Do you have any parting words?
Guys, just hang in there when it gets rough. That means that there is a bigger prize on the other end. So just hang in there, reach out, use your resources, use your community. Don't give up.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.